So check this out. For every 100 voters in India, a whopping 48 are women. That's almost half, right? But get this. In our parliament, for every 100 MPs, there are only 14 women. Just 14. How is that possible? आखिर politics के इस खेल में आधी आबादी पीछे क्यों छूट जाती है? Well, that's the big puzzle we're going to solve today. चलिए, इसकी हर परत को खोल कर देखते हैं.
Welcome, everyone. So today, we're diving deep into a real political paheli, a puzzle. We're going to look at how these three threads, gender, religion, and caste, get all tangled up in Indian politics. It's a complicated mess, for sure. But don't worry, आइए इन धागों को एक-एक करके अलग करते हैं together.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the race case rules, basically the setup. Then we'll jump into the politics ka kurukshetra, the identity wars. After that, a really important one, adi abadi hak adura. And finally, we'll end on a positive note with leveling the field, a hope.
All right, let's kick things off with our first section, race ke rules. Just imagine Indian politics as a massive race, okay? But here's the twist. In this race, not everyone gets to start from the same line. Har runner ki starting line alag hai. The big question is, why? Chaliye, let's find out.
So the very first rule of this race, you could say, is something called patriarchy, Pitra Satatmak Samaj. It's a system where men are basically in charge. The family line is traced through the father, and most of the power, whether it's at home or in society, is in the hands of men. Think of it like the default setting for the game. Yahi hai wo starting point.
And if you want to see the real-world impact of this, look at this number. The literacy rate for women in India, just 54%. Now compare that to men, which is 76%. That's a huge 22% gap. It just goes to show, right from the get-go, the starting lines are miles apart. The opportunities just aren't the same. Okay, moving on to the second rule, religion. Now, this is a tricky one. On one hand, you have Gandhiji's idea. He believed that politics should draw its ethics, its moral compass, from religion. A beautiful thought, right? But then there's the flip side, communal politics. This is when religion is used purely to get votes, pitting one group against another for political gain. I mean, these two ideas are worlds apart. Zameen asman ka fark hai. So, to prevent exactly this kind of communal politics from taking over, the framers of India's constitution put a very important rule in place. They declared India a secular state, a Dharmnirspeksha Raja. And what does that mean? It's simple, really. The state has no official religion. In the eyes of the law, every single religion is equal. It's a fundamental principle. And that brings us to the third and probably the most complex factor, caste. You see, centuries ago, the Varna system was more of a social structure. But then the British came, and they basically institutionalized it into the government. This really cemented the dominance of the upper castes. After independence, thankfully, the Constitution banned discrimination based on caste and introduced reservations to try and correct this historical injustice. So, now that we have the rules of the race down, it's time to enter the arena. Welcome to our second section, Politics ka Kurukshetra. This is where things get intense. This is the battlefield where gender, religion, and caste stop being just identities and become political weapons. So what happens when religion shifts from being a personal faith to a political tool? Well, that's what we call communalism, or sampradayikta. It's based on this dangerous idea that people of one religion form a single community and that their interests are fundamentally different from and even superior to everyone else's. It's a mindset that just divides society. And this kind of communal and caste-based thinking gives rise to the infamous vote banks. You've probably heard this term, right? It's when a political party specifically targets a single caste or religious group, appeals to their identity, and tries to lock in their votes. The message is basically, we're on your side, so you have to vote for us. It's classic vote bank politics. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. These identities, they don't operate in a vacuum. To understand this, think about a cup of masala chai. When you take a sip, you can't separate the taste of the ginger from the cardamom or the tea leaves, can you? It's all one flavor. It's the same in politics. A Dalit woman's struggle isn't just about being a woman or just about being Dalit. It's about both at the same time. She's carrying the weight of both identities. And that's a concept called intersectionality. And that idea of intersectionality brings us perfectly to the heart of our story, our third section, Adi Abadi Hak Adura. Half the population, but not half the rights. I mean, women make up nearly 50% of our country's population, but when you look at who holds the power, their share is shockingly small.
Just look at these numbers. They're genuinely shocking. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, we had 14.7% women MPs. Okay, not great, but you'd think we're moving in the right direction. But then, in 2024, that number actually dropped to 13.62%. We didn't move forward. We actually took a step back. It's unbelievable.
And if you thought that was bad, well, the situation in the state assemblies is even worse. The national average representation for women is a dismal 9%. Just 9. This means that at the state level, where so many crucial decisions are made, women's voices are barely even heard.
So the obvious question is, why? Why is this happening? Well, there are some massive walls that women in politics have to climb. First off, the parties themselves are totally male-dominated. Then there's this societal bias that, politics is a man's game. On top of that, you have the money factor. An election can cost anywhere from 50 to 100 crore rupees. It's incredibly hard for women to raise that kind of cash. And finally, there's this awful practice of tokenism, where parties will field a woman candidate in a seat they know they're going to lose just for show.
Okay, let's just pause on that last point for a second. This whole tokenism thing. Why do you think political parties do it? I mean, what's in it for them to field women in seats they can't win? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your theories down in the comments below.
But despite all these barriers, the women who do manage to break through often do absolutely incredible work. Take Supriya Sule, for example. She started these mobile health clinics in her constituency, which directly led to a drop in the maternal mortality rate. That's real impact. As she says, politics is about serving people, not privilege, and that's a powerful message.
And this is exactly why it matters so much. This isn't just about statistics or hitting a certain percentage. The reality is, when there are fewer women in politics, the issues that disproportionately affect them, things like maternal health, children's education, women's safety, they just don't get the attention they deserve. It's simple. More women in power leads to better, more inclusive governance for everyone.
Which brings us to our final section, and it's all about looking forward. Section 4, Leveling the Field, a Hope. So after everything we've seen, can the rules of this race actually be changed? Is it possible to make the starting line the same for everyone?
Well, the biggest ray of hope right now is the Women's Reservation Act. And let me tell you, this law has had a long, long journey. It started way back in 1992 with 33% reservation in local panchayats. The bill for parliament was first debated in 1996, and it was only in 2023 that the Nari Shakti Vindan Adhiniyam was finally passed.
So, what this law promises is huge. It reserves 1/3, that's 33%, of the seats in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women. This could be a massive game changer. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. It won't be implemented until after 2029, and it depends on a new census and a process called delimitation. So the wait, unfortunately, is far from over. So what's the path forward? Well, experts have laid out a pretty clear roadmap. Number 1, implement the 33% quota now. Don't wait until after 2029. Number 2, create transparent, independent committees for selecting candidates. 3, provide real financial support for women candidates through something like an election fund. 4, educate voters to see women as credible leaders. And finally, number 5, bring in special policies to support women from Dalit, Adivasi, and minority communities. So, in the end, it comes down to this. The rules might be changing, but will our mindsets change too? A law is one thing, but the real challenge is implementing it with the right intention and for us, as a society, to truly accept and support women as leaders. The future of India's political race, well,